Welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show, where we get to the heart of why you overeat and how to stop. If you struggle with food and weight like I did, welcome home.
Welcome everybody to the Heal Your Hunger Show. So happy to have you here. It's a great day to be alive, and I've got something to share about, a little personal, so no surprise there, right? But if you're here for the first time, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad that you decided to join us. I am recording this live in the Secret Sauce group. So if you want to be a part of that group and you want to be a part of the conversation, don't miss out. Go to Facebook and sign into the Facebook group called the Secret Sauce to End Emotional Eating. Join us there. It's a private group, but if you're an emotional eater, if you feel like, you know, you're feeling out of control with food or weight, or you just want to eat healthier, join us in the Secret Sauce group. So go to Facebook, Secret Sauce to End Emotional Eating now, and we'll let you in and be a part of the conversation. So what else do I have to tell you? I don't know. I mean, I just, life is good. Life is good, but life is life, and life is in session. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. Okay, I want to talk to you today about a breakup, not a breakdown. So this is going to be short and sweet, but very, very important because, hey, it's about me. So, some of you who have been around for a little while and you follow me on Instagram, which is Tricia Nelson _, and many of my clients are here as well. So anybody who knows me or has been around for a little while knows that I've had a journey, a relationship journey. So the most recent news is that my wonderful boyfriend of about 15 months actually and I broke up. So this was about 3 weeks ago, and I'm having some feelings. So I want to talk to you about this process and what I'm going through. Not to be self-indulgent, but really because I feel like it's so instructive for emotional eaters. Because hey, I'm an emotional eater, and I had a choice going through this turbulent, several weeks. I had a choice to either eat over it, stuff my feelings, or work through my feelings. So I think that's a really important topic for emotional eaters because we all have stuff, right? We all have breakups. We have, bad news. We have job changes, transitions, moving, pandemics, whatever. So, and the key in my experience of healing and the Heal Your Hunger message, the key is to feel the feelings, move through the feelings, and not turn to food to anesthetize those feelings. So that's the journey I've been on. So I just want to talk to you a little bit about that in hopes of giving you some encouragement, that you don't have to have bad news and head straight to the refrigerator. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it'll come naturally to you, when you've had a lifetime of bearing your feelings with food and being obsessed with food. I know what that's about. I was 50 pounds overweight. But let me just talk to you about what I've been through, because hopefully you can grab a few pearls from this and use it on your own journey. So it's been kind of a interesting time for me. And, we had the Amazing Quit Sugar Challenge a couple weeks ago, and that was all amidst of this breakup that I was going through. And, it's not been easy. It's not been terrible either. No rancor, no bad words, no, meanness, no negativity. I mean, it's just been hard for both of us. This was something that I decided to do. And so I took the initiative on it, and it wasn't because things were terrible. I mean, that might have been easier if it was very clear and very, definitive, but it wasn't. It was something I just felt, I felt that long-term we weren't going to be a fit. And I was in a position where I needed to call it. So I did. I called it, and I was very honest and kind and loving. And but I broke somebody's heart. I broke somebody's heart, and it makes me sad. But it was somewhat of inevitable. It was a breakup, right? So anyway, I just want to talk about it because I have been through a lot of feelings. And what's kind of funny to me is that because this was my decision and something I felt like was the right move for me, for some reason I thought I wouldn't feel grief about it. Like, I don't know where I got that crazy idea that I just kind of sail through this and I'd be on my merry way. But no, I spent 15 months with this man. We did COVID together. Like, we moved to Maine and we experienced, that move together, and we lived together, and we were the only ones we saw on many days through the quarantine. It was us. It was just us. And I mean, the beautiful thing is we got along great during the quarantine, and it was never hard for us. It was really wonderful. And then we actually got COVID. So we did that part of COVID together, literally being sick. And he was a lot sicker than I was. So I was blessed to not be as sick and be able to take care of him through that. But that's an intense experience to go through. And we traveled together. And as some of you know, we cycled together. I got on a bike and learned how to clip in and clip out with without some bruises on my butt, but anyway, lots of good times, lots of amazing memories. And so of course I'm going to have grief, of course I'm going to have feelings about this. And it's just, I find that as emotional eaters, we tend to be idealistic, and we just don't want to feel at all. Like, we just want happy high notes, or at least I do. I just want happy high notes. That's all I want. I don't want any of the low stuff. I don't want any bad feelings. That's why I overate. I just wanted to douse those feelings. I didn't want anything to do with them. But that is not reality. And as an emotional eater on a healing journey, I have to embrace all my feelings, and I have to realize that it's not real to have only happy high notes, that you only get those happy high notes when you have sad low notes, so I have to embrace everything and every feeling. And that's really my message here today, is that, I think of Winston Churchill, who said, if you're going through hell, keep going, which is such a great quote, because I've been in my own little kind of hell, over the past 3 weeks. And certainly could have been worse. It could have been, and we didn't have any drama. And part of that was because Richard made the decision that he didn't want to communicate with me after my, breaking up with him. And we've only texted, and we've had logistical text only. So no more heart emojis, no more sweet text, no flirtation, no nothing. Dry, cold, business-like, logistical, how to end things with getting our stuff back to each other, and that the usual stuff. And I'm no longer going to be having my place that I shared with him in Maine. So anyway, the fact that I haven't been able to connect with him by phone at all or talk has been really hard for me, because I went 15 months of talking to him every day, and all of a sudden nothing, just, nothing, but just a very dry text here and there. So that hit me hard. That was hard for me. And I just, I've been in a lot of grief, and probably nothing compared to what he's been feeling. He's been really pretty wrecked about it, which I'm really sad about. But I know it's part of the process of ending a relationship, especially if one person wants to keep it going and one doesn't. So, but anyway, the point is, I've had a lot of feelings, and I didn't expect to have all this grief. Grief is such an amazing thing. Like, it's an intruder. It just enters into your life, into your body, your consciousness whenever it wants. It does not care what you're doing. It does not care that you're in the middle of a podcast. It doesn't care that you're teaching a class. It doesn't care that you're out with friends, having a nice time. It comes when it wants to come. And that's been my experience. That was my experience when my father died of cancer 20 years ago. That was the first time I really experienced the feelings of grief, and I wasn't overeating then either. So I got to experience the full impact of what grief is about. And I know there's many stages of grief, that's been written about, but Kubler-Ross, she's written books about grief, and named these 5 stages of grief. And I don't, I've checked that out, and I don't really follow that path. In this particular instance, I'm sure when my dad was dying, I probably did, go through the more traditional process of grieving. But with this, it's just, there's an emptiness, there's somebody who was there who's not there now. And there's an impasse and an inability to communicate, where it was a daily communication before, and my heart is heavy. And I feel the grief more when I'm alone, and often at night, or often as it's getting to be nighttime. And, it's just, it's heavy, it's dense. Grief is dense. It's a very dense emotion. Like, it's heavy, it's thick. It's like a cloak, it just sort of cloaks you, it sort of just descends upon you. And the lesson for me is to move through it and to accept it. It's operating on its terms. It didn't ask my permission, when it can come and when it can hang out and how long it can stay. So I got to let it do its thing. And, respect that it's part of the process, because if I don't, I will eat. Okay. As an emotional eater, my number one, point of, or line of defense was always overeating, turning to food. What can I eat? What can I eat to distract myself, to bury these painful feelings? And that's a big part of why we eat, is to bury painful feelings, to escape a reality that's uncomfortable, or to punish ourselves with guilt. That's the PEP formula that I often talk about. So I don't want to do that, friends. I don't want to do that. And I'm sharing about this because I don't want you to do that either. I want you to move through your feelings of grief, if that's what they are, or any feelings. Because guess what? This is a lesson for any kind of emotion, because the reason why we eat is because we don't want to feel. We're looking for those happy high notes, and the carbs and the sugar give us that in the moment, right? The desserts, the bright, yummy, colorful foods, the sugary foods, the very tempting foods, they in a moment will give us satisfaction. But then so often, especially when we eat too much of it, we just feel terrible. And there's darkness that comes on the heels of those happy high notes. So I know what that's like. I've experienced the hell of overeating, the hell of burying my feelings with food. And I sure don't want that, because my experience with painful feelings is when you bury them alive, they don't go anywhere. They're still there, and they're still wreaking havoc on our lives. And so it's really important for me to face them head on as they're happening. So if I bury them, I will have to, I either deal with them or they deal with me, and that's usually in the form of overeating, or at least craving and being very uncomfortable. And you may drink, you may use pot, you may shop, there's all kinds of ways that we can bury our feelings, of course. But in my experience as an emotional eater, my first line of defense has always been food. So I don't want to go there. I've worked too hard, and I have a life that I love, a life that's free from overeating, and really a freedom around food that I never thought possible. And this is what I teach my clients. I teach them exactly what I've done to experience that freedom. And it's amazing. It's so amazing. I thank God every day for the freedom that I have. It's incredible. But, there's work involved. And so that's the step-by-step process. That's the self-care. That's the community. All these things that I teach my clients, I have to do as well. I'm not cured. So what I've been doing is moving through the feelings, just feeling the feelings, and just knowing that they will pass, and so, I feel them, I move through them, I cry about them. And it's really, it's just, it is what it is. It's the process. I love crying. I don't do a lot of it. So I just, I love the cleansing process of crying. I'm not a big crier these days. But there were years where I got a lot of stuff out, a lot of pain, and I healed in so many ways. But lately I'm just not a big crier. But, in the past several weeks, I have let out, quite a few tears. And last night was up in the middle of the night. I've been having trouble sleeping, which is probably part of this grief as well. And so I had a good cry. I had a good cry, and I was grateful for it, just to get those feelings out. And tears of sadness and loss and transition. So I'm just grateful for that, and I just really want to encourage you, where in your life are you suppressing emotions? Where in your life are you trying to avoid this natural process of grief? Have you let go of a relationship recently? Have you transitioned from one job to another? Have you transitioned from one home to another, one location, one town to another? Do you have kids who have gone away to school or to a new job, or, to another parent, co-parenting? I mean, there's so many ways that we experience grief, but again, it's not only grief, it's any kind of experiences, having our feelings get hurt, feeling wronged in some way, feeling neglected in some way, or whatever. Excited feelings too, those count as well. And I find as emotional eaters, we're just as afraid of the really high feelings as well as the low feelings, because they're somewhat uncomfortable when we're used to having a set point that's sort of muddling through and being miserable. Sometimes we can get triggered when we feel really good. The bottom line is they all have to be felt. We have to feel all of them. Feel, deal, and heal. That's the shortcut. Feel, deal, and heal. Face, embrace, erase. Okay? Name it, claim it, tame it. So these are all cute little sayings, but they mean something that's very true. And that's that we have to feel it in order to move through it, in order to heal from it. So that's what I've been doing, just wanted to update you on what's going on. And what I'm learning is that it's a breakup. It's not a breakdown. And I don't need to break down from this. And I'm so hoping that, my former boyfriend, sweet Richard, I hope that he gets that message as well. I hope he knows that, he can rise from the ashes as well and see it for what it was, which is an amazing relationship that's come to an end, but not necessarily, something that we have to break down over, And so I really feel good that we had the fun that we had, and that we had the caring and the love and the respect that we had. To me, it was my most successful relationship, by far. And I'm happy about that. I'm grateful for that. It means maybe I'm getting better, I'm learning something. And I think that's true. I liked who I was in this relationship, and I want to continue to be that person, and then some, get even better in the next one. So, but I've the tools I've used. For those of you who hear me talk about the 6 self-care success secrets, I've used all of them, especially the writing, crying. That's not one of the self-care secrets, but that's helped, but my shorthand is write about it, talk about it, pray about it. And that's really how I've been getting through this. Of course, my meditation, but the writing, the praying, and the talking has really carried me through. So being able to talk about it with friends, with people I care about, with my mentor, just sort of processing emotions, processing, times when it seems tough, to communicate with this, person, or, what to say, how to say it, all that. I don't do this alone. I never do this, my life alone. There's too much support available. I'm not stoic. I don't want to suffer. I want to move through these things. And so this is how I've done it. And this is how I recommend it to others, is just to, just to really face those feelings head on. Don't skirt them. Move through them. Get support. Don't do it alone. And know that this too shall pass. That's one of my favorite sayings, is this too shall pass, and I'm not going to feel pain and grief forever. I'm just not, especially if I move through it now, especially if I don't shut myself down, if I need to cry, I let her rip. I boo-hoo, I make some noise. And it cleanses me, and it helps me move to the other side. Then I have days that I think I'm over it. I'm like, I'm over it. I'm good. And the next day I realize I'm not. So thank you guys so much I love your comments. Thank you for your comments. It means the world to me. It's so, so sweet and supportive. So we all need that, right? We all need the love and support. So thank you for that. And, there'll be more to come. My life is not stopping. It's moving forward, and I'm excited about that. And I'm excited about the new chapter in my life. And I have more time now, and I've been getting together with friends. It took up a lot of time to live with somebody and to, be involved as involved as we were. So I didn't neglect my friends, but I didn't have as much time for them as I have now. So I'm calling some people up, getting together, for dinner with different people, and just, picking up and moving on. So that's the lesson today. You don't have to break down because you're breaking up, and you don't have to eat over it, whatever it is. Feel, deal, and heal. That's what I want for you. That's how we overcome emotional eating. And the more support, the better. So please reach out if you want support. I'm certainly here for you. And thanks for being there for me. I love you so much. And I'll see you later on the next episode. Take care.
If you enjoyed this podcast and want to get free support, insider health info, exclusive invites to events, and more, visit healyourhunger.com.